Hey Karoo, it is, I guess it's Thursday after we left yesterday, Wednesday, and I thought you might recognize this place. I'm gonna spin around here so you can see. I know somebody's looking at me weird. I hate like shooting video when people walk by. I don't know if you recognize this spot, but you and I were here about 3 years ago. Just happened to be the place we ended up last night. And I'm assuming you'll be able to guess it. But I wanted to tell you about what happened yesterday. So we ended up going to Forest City. We had a great breakfast with Russ Garfin and his wife Kathy. And it was kind of funny because I wasn't sure if they were going to really remember who we were. But they remembered us. They remembered Taryn from going canoeing in Arkansas. And we had a great talk with them. And it's super interesting. Actually, Russ is a super interesting guy. So he's been at Winnebago for like 36 years now. But he actually started out as a Japanese. He majored in Japanese and Japanese literature as an undergrad, and he and his wife actually lived for 5 years in Japan, teaching English there before he came back to the U.S. And he just kind of started working for Winnebago. They were trying to import RVs into Japan, and so they hired him on as a Japanese language guy, which is kind of cool. But anyway, so we had breakfast with them, and then we got on the road, and we started heading out, and we stopped to get gas. And when we stopped to get gas, all of a sudden the engine, the warning saying that we needed an oil change came on. And I was like, well, that's probably not a big deal. Let's check, when did I last get oil? Because I thought I'd gotten oil changed this spring when we had the transmission done. Well, it turns out it had been 19,000 miles since we had the oil change, and the rule is supposed to be 18,000 miles or when the light comes on, whichever comes first. So I was like, oh crap, now I really feel like we should change the oil. So we were taking back roads through the middle of Iowa, and there's nothing, and we were kind of looking at, Sarah started calling people like in Casper, Wyoming to see if they could get us in, and nobody could get us in to the oil change. And so we ended up stopped at construction, and she said, Mitchell, South Dakota is 20 miles north of us if we just turn around, go a mile back. And I was like, oh, maybe we should do that. So we ended up doing that. We went into Mitchell, and the dealership couldn't get us in, so we went to those quickie oil change places, and we went to 2 of them, and they both said, we can't work on the ProMaster. We're not allowed to. Our parent company won't let us work on your diesel motor. And I've been told this before, and I think it has to do with the fact that the motor is it has a weird drain plug, and often they break the drain plug and you have to get a new one, and they don't want to pay that cost, right? So basically nobody will do it. And I'm like, crap. So I had read that there's this thing where you can suck the oil out through the dipstick. So we went to a O'Reilly's auto shop. Let me change hands here, my arm's getting tired. I'm carrying around the garbage. Actually, I was running to the garbage, which is why this looks kind of funny. But so we went to an O'Reilly's auto shop, and we bought one of these things. We went to a park and eventually sucked all the oil out of the engine, at least 9 quarts. Supposedly it takes 9.5. And I added new oil. I didn't change the oil filter just because I didn't want to get down on the ground underneath the vehicle and buy the tool for that as well. But so it ended up taking us 2 hours in Mitchell to change the oil. And then we're, by then we're between the drive up to Mitchell and back, and then we got on the freeway and we're like, well, let's just head west on the freeway now, because we've gone out of our way. But then we started looking for places to stay. We were going to end up right around Sturgis, and yesterday was the first day of the motorcycle rally in Sturgis, and I'm like, crap, I don't want to do that. And Sarah said we could just cut south and go back where we were planning on going, which was this park, and we'd get there at 9 o'clock. And so that's what we ended up doing. We headed south, came back here, and then of course, because it's late, I set my cruise at 8 miles an hour over the speed limit, or 7. I was trying to go 72 and 65, and I haven't had any problem doing that in the past. And we had just come out of a little town, and there was a cop. Actually, I didn't even know he was a cop coming the other way, a state patrol. And even well before we were even with him, he pulled off on the side of the road. So I slowed down. I didn't know he was a cop. I slowed down because there was a guy pulling off the side of the road in front of us on this narrow road. And as I went by, I saw he was a cop. And then he turned around and came after me and pulled me over. And he was super nice. He was a young guy, and he just said, I'd like to see your license and registration. I pulled you over for speeding. And I was like, okay. But then I was curious, how fast did he think I was going? And because, like I said, he was way in front of me when he pulled over. So he didn't even wait to get next to me. And so then he came up and said, I'm giving you a warning. And I asked him, I said, how fast? Actually, I told him, I said, I honestly had my cruise control set on 72. How fast did you clock me at? And he said, I clocked you at 75. So I think it may be that, I was coming out of town, and I noticed afterwards, I kept going 72 after this, but I noticed when I set the cruise control that if I was kind of going up a hill, it sometimes set 1 or 2 miles over, and that might have been what happened. So I might have set it at 72, and I didn't double check, and it could have been going a little faster. And it could have also been that because he was so far away, that there was just an error in his radar. And as you said in your text, you say the radar is often set to be to be aired in favor of the driver. But anyway, it was kind of funny. It's funny because when he pulled me over, I wasn't even I just assumed there's no way he's going to give me a ticket because I'm not going that fast. And I was surprised he actually bothered to stop and turn around and stop me. Yeah. Anyway, so it ended up costing 4 minutes or something, and he was super polite and nice. But yeah, so that was our day yesterday, and we pulled in here at 9 o'clock. This park is really nice. I gotta say, I would come back here again, even maybe stay a couple days. There's beautiful landscape around here. I don't know if you can see in the background here. Actually, I'm gonna put this down because I've got a good zoom on this. Let's see if I can zoom in on that, if you can see how beautiful those formations are up there. But anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Hope you're having a good time in Florida. Talk to you soon.